record, but better late than never. Sorry about that. So before we start getting into the data, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing, not just to really help provide support for the data, but also content. Look, let's face it, if you're interested in getting a job in the sports business, good for you. Sports are fun. You know, we're talking about something that's fun. You know, I just saw Professor smile. You know, whenever I talk about our business, there's always a smile on my face. We're talking about sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, the playoffs, which the conference playoffs, which just occurred yesterday. So we're always talking about sports. But our Sports Resource Center, I want to make you aware of real quickly. Number one is it's a comprehensive place where you can find a lot of supported and related content. Our list of podcasts. If you're serious about a job in sports, then you need to pick and choose which podcast you might want to listen to. By the way, you might want to listen to ours, which is called My First Job in Sports. Look, we want to help you get that first job. I have a direct line to your parents, and they all want you to be gainfully employed and get off their payroll as soon as possible. Hey, I went through it, the same thing with my children. So My First Job in Sports is our podcast, but there are so many great ones here. Don't be afraid to go through the list in our resource center. Everyone here on this call has access to SBRnet via the library. I don't know how the library works. Laura can help us out with that, but everyone has access to this. There's another thing that we've got called Top People to Follow on Social Media. I love this. You know, you can't follow everyone that you want to follow. So what you do, you pick and choose who you think you might want to follow. Like for me, I love following Alex Silverman. I've known Alex for a long time. He's at Morning Consult. I think Alex is one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to the business of sports. But there are so many great people to follow when it comes to our list of podcasts. Hey, when you're ready to start looking for a job, we've got some incredible directories from basically all the sports, all the teams, and executives at all different levels. So there's an awful lot of data, an awful lot of things that we bring, not just the data, which by the way, we're going to get into right now, but I wanted you to see the Resource Center. So what I'm going to do now is bring you back to the home page, and we're going to talk a little bit about data. But one of the things I like to talk about when I talk about data is process. What's your process? You don't just go and start looking for data and trying to find answers. You know what happens? You usually won't find them. You know, that's like skipping steps. So I'm a real process guy. I like to sit down, and the first thing I always love to do is I love to first use what I call search, not research, but search. Because what search does, and it has nothing to do with research, is that it gives you the opportunity to learn. What are the questions you need to be asking? What are the things that you need to be thinking about as you're working through your topic? Now, I talked to Professor last week or the week before, and I picked a topic that I like. Hey, it's my lecture. I'm doing a topic I like. Right now, I don't know if a lot of you have heard about something called the Premier Hockey Federation. It is a professional hockey league for women. So it is a women's organization started by a group out of, I think, well, they're actually out of Connecticut. They've got Joanna Boynton is actually the commissioner, but it is a women's professional hockey league. Folks, they are a clean sheet of paper. They have no fans. They have very few sponsors. They have, I don't want to say the words nothing, but they are a clean sheet of paper. I love working with this. So as we're going today and as we're talking, I'm going to be using the Premier Hockey League as our target strategy or our target topic. Look, you're going to have your own topics. You're going to assign your topics. Professor and you are going to work together to determine what are the topics that you want to do. By the way, the Premier Hockey League is so rich with ideas. So the first place I always like to start in this process is what I like to call search. And the place I like to start my search is right here on SBRnet. Because one of the things that we do is that we provide you with a comprehensive list. Whoops, first I guess I need to sign in. A comprehensive list of articles. I have 3 analysts who their job every day is to spend at least 2 hours a day looking at articles from all of the major publications that are out there. Front Office Sports, Associated Press, Axios, Sportico. And what we're there to do is, again, to try to bring you up to date with the topics that people are talking about. Now, in this case, it's general hockey. I typed in hockey. Hey, good place to start. When I'm doing a project, by the way, I always like to start very general. I like to use like a data funnel. And when you're using a funnel, what do? Well, you pour as much into the funnel as you can. And then what's going to happen is the good stuff drips into the bottom. And that's what we're going to have happen with this. But we did our search, hockey. You can do this with Google, by the way. You don't need SBRnet, but I would like it if you went to SBRnet. But when you do a search, you get relevant articles, relevant data. This is all data that is available on our online system. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. But then also relevant directories. So my goal here with my search function is to almost be like a GPS for you. Here's step 1. Here is the first waypoint on your trip from here to your objective, or here to your particular challenge, strategy, whatever you might want to call it. But you know what? Let's narrow it down a little bit and let's go to Premier Hockey. What do you know? I did this before. I type in Premier Hockey and look what comes up. Up comes a series of articles. We don't have any data yet about Premier Hockey League. We're going to talk about that shortly, though. I promise. So, but here are relevant articles that our analysts have culled from major sports publications. This is from Sports Travel Magazine. I love this, guys, by the way. Sports Travel will be a wonderful spot for some of you to continue to make that first step into sports. But here again is about the Premier Hockey Federation and their first All-Star game. Let me get a little drink here. So again, what have I done? I've started with the funnel wide open. First, I threw in some hockey articles. Then I might throw in some Premier Hockey articles. Not ready to start throwing in data just yet, but we will get there, I assure you. So let's go back to the homepage. And we talked about all sorts of different data. I'm going to focus mostly on the sports fan data, but I want to show you just the depth and other places you can go that will really give you some interesting views of what you can talk about or what you can work on. As an example, sales data. Let's say your project is going to be to develop some sort of new, I don't know, basketball with some funky type of sensor in it that measures, I don't know, the speed at which basketball players dribble. By the way, I'm making that up. So you have the ability to be able to look at basketball data, basketballs, and understand the size of that particular market. In 2025, we're estimating that to be a $400 million business. So again, you want to be able to understand exactly what's going on. Market sizing. When you're doing a business plan, this is the first thing I like to bring up. People come to me all the time. Hey, Neil, I've got this amazing idea for this new rower. You know, instead of rowing in water, you're going to be rowing in like pudding. I just made that up, of course. You know, and I'm like, well, let's look at the size of the addressable market. How big is the market? What's the size of the prize? Simple question, really is. One that for some reason, so many people cannot answer. But hopefully you'll learn where to be able to find the size of your prize. Now, we do have some player and performance data for those of you that are into that category. Bad news, good news. Bad news, we don't actually have this data on our site. This is not what we do. But I do, however, give you sites where you're able to go get the data you need in order to be able to look at, you know, various sports. Personally, I am not into player performance. I am into team performance. I am into team ticket sales. I am into sponsorship. And that's why Mark and I, when we had the opportunity, bought SBRnet about 2.5 years ago. But another type of data that we also have is our participation data. I have this funny saying. This is like a Neil'ism. This would be, let's see, Neil's third law, like Newton's third law. And Neil's third law says this: if people don't play, they don't need to buy. If you don't play, why do you buy? You don't. And that's my point. So let's say, for instance, we are going to do something on ice hockey. You might say, you know what? Before I start looking at, I don't know, you know, hockey fans, let's take a look at what's going on with hockey participation. If I can find it. Help. It's up here somewhere. There it is. This is the largest yearly study of sports participation, 88 sports, 88. And we get to look at all the different numbers related to participation. So for instance, these numbers are all in thousands. That means, hey, just add 3 zeros to it. So in 2021, there were 1.2 million people who played ice hockey casually at least 49 times a year. You could go down here and look at core participation. These are really people that really do play. And what do we see? We see that number is at 1.1 million. Well, you can start to track the trends. And frankly, it's been on a downward trend, it looks like, since 2018, even through COVID. So again, don't forget 2020, 2019, tough years for a lot of sports, especially team sports, because of COVID. You know, some might say, hey, why don't you put an asterisk there? We don't do it. But again, understanding participation. Is it growing? Is it flat? Or is it down? Very important to know. It really is. I mean, even if you're looking at being a fan, because if you want to attract new fans, one of the great places to start is with people that play. So let's do something real quickly while we're here. We're going to talk about gender, and we're going to talk about hockey, and we're going to talk about hockey fans in about 3 minutes. But here's a number that you might want to start taking a look at. In 2021, the male to female split was, let's round up, 80% men or 79% men, 21% women. Remember that. But remember also that that number 21% is up significantly from 2014, from 14 to 21, and it's kind of flat over the last 3 years. So again, understanding key data points. When I'm looking at data like this, you know what I'm doing? I'm writing stuff down. I have 3x5 cards when I'm working on stuff like this, and I write my notes. Now, look, you might say, you know, Neil's a little old school. I don't write. I'm going to copy what I want to Excel. Guess what? You can just export everything right to Excel. You don't need to copy and paste. You don't need to, you don't need any, fancy, macros. It's all done for you. I'm a little old school. So we've looked at participation data. We looked at sales data. Now we're going to look at probably my favorite data, or sports fan data. This is where the rubber meets the road in a lot of ways for our data. We literally cover 16 sports. Did I say 16? 18 sports now, across 65 categories of data. You name it, we're covering it. And we're going to look at this in a little bit more depth right here. Over here on the right, can everybody see this? Do I need to make it a little bit bigger? Can you see it now? Somebody say yes, please. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes, we can see it. Yep.
Okay, good, good, good. So right here in the single sports summaries, those are all of the sports that I currently collect data for. It's a big list. We are adding this year Formula One racing. I have to say, it was my idea. I got the bug when I started to watch that show on Netflix, the Drive to Survive, about Formula One. I am totally into Formula One now. I've got like a favorite racer. I'm following the teams. I'm like a total Formula One racing geek, which is hard to believe because I've never followed IndyCar. Watched the Indy 500 a few times. Never followed NASCAR. Maybe I watched Daytona a few times, but I am not a car guy. Just not. I'm not even a car guy when it comes to owning a car. But what I am is a data guy. That's what I am. So whether I'm talking about golf, whether I'm talking about esports, whether I'm talking about major league, minor league, NHL, you name it, I'm a data guy. I let data do my talking in a lot of ways. So let's start out. Now, we know we don't cover women's professional hockey. I'm going to show you something we do cover to make up for it, though. But let's start with the NHL. What's the best place you think to go find fans of a women's hockey league? Let's go look at fans of the professional hockey league, the NHL. What do we got going on? Well, the data here on the site shows that since 2012, the numbers have jumped from 53.5 million up to 56.3 million. So hockey's grown. There's no question. It grew through the pandemic, up to 56 million fans. Dude, I am writing that down. I am writing down the trends, or I'm copying it to Excel. But where I'm also going is, I'm going down here. I'm going to look at the gender information. Remember, we saw that the gender information had been up over the last few years when it came to participation. Well, the gender information when it comes to fandom, it's all over the place. It's up, it's down a lot, it's up a little, you name it, it's all over the place. But what do we know? We know that 66% of hockey fans in 2021 were male and 34% were female. Writing that down, because it's those 44% of that 56 million that will serve as your first level target for the Premier Hockey League. You're always looking to establish those targets. Now, I know a lot of you, I hope a lot of you have some questions. I'm going to try to get through this till about maybe 12:40, and then I'll ask for questions. But what I wanted to do is to show you that when we have the data, we break it down by all of these different data points: gender, household income. By the way, we increased our household income this year up to 150K. Geographic region. This shows only the 4 census regions. I now have the 9 sub-census regions to go with it. So we're always looking to make our data better. And I know as a librarian, Laura's always looking for ways to provide better data. Well, I think our fans are wanting better data. So you have an opportunity to really understand in summary form, what are hockey fans doing? Where is the social media? Look at this. Social media followers on Facebook jumped up from 12 million up to 23 million. Let's look at TikTok. I'm sure you guys are all TikToked up. It looks like TikTok's not even on the summary. We do have TikTok data. So we're going to get all of this data, but we've got a logo, licensed merch. So we've got all types of different data that you can access here in the summary format. But what you can't do here is you can't do the crosstabs. So for instance, what do we know? We know that approximately 40% of all hockey fans are women. Who are they? Are they young? Are they old? Are they rich? Are they poor? Are they well educated? Are they not well educated? Well, here's where you're going to start to find that. The first place to find that out is right here in our premium section. And UMichigan has access to the first level of premium data. We're going to talk about the second level too, but you don't have access to that right now. But you do have access to the first level. You click here and it takes you down to this unbelievable menu of data. 18 sports, 5 years of data, 65 categories. Amazing, just amazing. And everything is already pre-formatted in Excel. You don't have to do it. I did it for you. Aren't I a good guy? I did it for you. So we've made this really a lot easier than we have in the past. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what the data, looks like. Get another hit of water. Water is good for you. Drink a lot. So I'm going to now open up Excel. At least I hope I am. Yep. And where are we going to start? Well, we're going to start right here in our data for the NHL. I want to first take you to the methodology page. So important that you understand where the fan data is coming from. We make it. It's our own proprietary consumer study using a scientific methodology. We're not just pulling this data out of some black box. We are creating a model of the United States based on adults 13 years and older. And what we're basing our model on is geographic region, household income, household size, age, gender, race, and ethnicity. So what we're doing is we're building a model, and then we collect the data using an internet-based format to match our model. So if we know, as an example, that 52% of America is female, then our collection will reflect that. And then will be distributed accordingly by age, income, household size, ethnicity, and I'm forgetting something, race and ethnicity. So, and geography. So again, we're always trying to make sure our data is so scientifically stable. How do I know? Because the numbers don't wobble. How do I know? Because we've proved our numbers out against other well-known data sources that are out there. Now, we first take you to the next tab on the data. Here's where you get what we like to call, and it looks exactly like what it is, a table of contents. 64 separate tabs of data. So everything is right here, right in front of you. I get so excited when I look at this data. I know you're probably thinking, boy, Neil is like a real data geek. And you're right, I am. I love data because data is an amazing way to tell a story. I love it when I sit with people and they tell me, well, you know, our fan base is growing. And I say, well, what do you base that on? And well, I just know it. You know, I go to more games, I talk to more people, I just know it. You know what? It's not very scientific. That's what they call qualitatively based. I'm a quantitatively based guy, although I like to use qualitative data. But what did we talk about? We talked initially about gender. And what do we know? Professor, can we see this data on the screen right now? Is it big enough or do I need to make it a little bigger?
We're good. It's on the large screen right now.
Okay, great. I want to make sure everybody can see it. So we know that there's 56,284,000, remember the number's all in thousands, hockey fans in 2021. And we know how it breaks down in gender. And we know how it breaks down male to female. So here's where you're able to get at that data. But what you're able to do here is you're able to compare, let's say, the age distribution for men versus women. Do they skew younger or older? In fact, they tend to skew younger in many cases. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, smaller, but the percentages skew younger. As an example, 35.9% of female hockey fans, make sure I got that right, by the way. I didn't. 20% are, in fact, 25 to 34 versus 19% of men. So it's a little bit more. So you're always looking to make some comparisons. Actually, 18.6, I don't even know my own data. So again, be careful as you're looking at data. I know this data pretty well, and I can misquote it. So be careful. Be careful. Double check your work. But in every report, as I said, we've done the crosstabs for you. Gender, age, generation. I love talking about generation stuff. I mean, I love talking about especially Gen Z and the millennials and things like that. Household income, census region, education, licensed merch, always important. Attendance. Are these people attending one game or are they attending 4 or more? Where did they watch? How did they use their mobile device? How did they use streaming media? Let's look at the TikTok story here real quick. So as you can see, TikTok, of the 56 million, there's around 6.7 million that are using TikTok. So again, you've got the ability to be able to look at a wide variety of data points here. And all the crosstabs are done for you. So I've made it really easy. So when if you want to find out about TikTok, you go to the TikTok tab. That kind of sounds funny. Oh, too small. Let's move it over. I lost that one. TikTok. There we go. So when you look at the TikTok data, let me throw some commas in here. Make it bigger. So again, we can look at the TikTok data, look at what people are doing on it, understand it, check the demographics. Do they match up? There's all sorts of things you can do. And the deeper you dive, a lot of times, the better your decision. I was very early in my marketing career. I'm a marketing professor. I went to Syracuse, by the way, and I graduated, in a marketing degree, and then I got a grad degree at UCLA. But in undergrad, one of the things that I learned early on was any decision you make closer to the end consumer is a better decision. This data helps you get closer to the end consumer. So now what I'd like to do, though, is take you on a little bit more of a journey. So now we looked at NHL, professional hockey. We've also got something very interesting. It's called other women's sports. This was new, by the way, this year. So what we did was we created a new category that covers gender, in this case, of other women's professional and collegiate sports. Now, it does not single out ice hockey. Couldn't do it. Sample sizes got too small. When sample sizes get too small, the data can get a little wonky. It's an official scientific word for it can wobble around a lot. We're very conscious of that. We want to make sure that our data is reflective and is not wobbly. We like it as firm as possible. But interestingly enough, look at the male-female split among women that are fans of or people that are fans of other women's professional and collegiate sports. There's 27 million of them, of which 15 million are men, 11, let's say 12 million are women. Look at this, 56 versus 44. Interesting. It's a higher percentage. Dive deeper into your question, your challenge, your problem. This takes you deeper. It's the same data, same methodology, same table of contents. All of it's the same, but it takes you down into another category. Now, I can even go a little deeper. How about looking at minor league hockey? I laugh about this a lot because we've got data on minor league hockey, and people like to say, well, who are those 11.6 million people that watch or go to hockey games? Well, there's a lot of people that like minor league hockey. It's not just the parents of the players. But again, you have the ability to make these comparisons. NHL fans, fans of minor league hockey, fans of other women's sports. So what you're looking at here is throwing this data in the funnel up here and letting the data that you need drip to the bottom or drip to the page. That's the best analogy that I can possibly think of when it comes to how the process works. Question and answer, articles, challenges, data, go to SBRnet, start look, you can't break it, okay? Start clicking around, you can't break it. And if you've got a problem, Laura Burdish is there. And if Laura can't answer your problem, Neil Schwartz is there. So we're always there to provide you. We're not just the kind of company that dumps the data and says, hey, good luck. You know, here's your thing. No, we're going to be there to help. In fact, if Professor invites me back later in the term, I'll come back. I'm just one of those guys that has a tough time saying no. Now, I would like to show you one more thing. And Laura, I would like you to direct your attention to this. When you start looking at strategy, my first thing when it comes to strategy is I always want to answer the following questions: who, what, when, where, how, and then why. I know people ask it the other way, but the reason why I put why is because why is always the toughest question to answer, because that's where you're getting into people's motivations. But all of the other questions can be answered by looking at what we call our NHL by team data. So here's where you can literally drill down and look at gender. Here somewhere. Here we go. Gender, age of those attended chart. Here we go. We'll do this. So we know 56 million fans, but on top, we've got it broken down by various teams. The Premier Hockey League cannot go after every fan, every women fan. They just can't do it. They don't have the money. They don't have the manpower. They just don't have the marketing wherewithal. So what do they want to do? They want to most likely focus their efforts on specific teams. Do I want to go after female fans of the Detroit Red Wings or of the Chicago Blackhawks? It's a good question. I don't really have an answer right here. Or do you want to look at female fans of the Colorado Avalanche or the Columbus Blue Jackets? But again, what you're doing is you're starting to answer that who, that what, the when, the where. You know, is it Calgary? Is it Calgary? I don't even think Calgary's there anymore. Or is it the Buffalo Sabres? Or is it the Detroit Red Wings? Where are you going to go to target your marketing? So as you can see, SBRnet can be an incredibly comprehensive source of data. In fact, in some cases, there might actually be too much, but it's all here for you. University of Michigan subscribes to the service. You're able to access everything that I've shown you today, with the exception of the team by team data. Laura, that's your cue. But, you know, so again, one of the things we want to remind you is a lot of great data, a lot of great topics to work with, a lot of great ways to use it. Before I give out, before I let Laura give out her contact information, number one, I just want to say thank you to Professor Kwok. Thank you. Thank you first for reaching out to me. Thank you for having the early discussions. I hope that I've been able to fulfill, you know, your faith in me and also what you've been looking for in terms of use of the data. So thank you. And I hope I've been able to provide that. But the last thing before I get into questions and also Laura's contact information, or excuse me, Laura Burdish, sorry, is Folks, if you're not smiling on the other end of this camera, then you need to put that smile on your face. This is sports, folks. Did anybody watch the end of that football game last night between the Chiefs and the Bengals? It was so exciting at the end. It may not have gone the way that you wanted it to, but it was so much fun and exciting. Sports are fun. If you choose to make sports your job, your vocation, your life, it's going to be fun. You're going to smile more than you ever thought you could because sports are fun. Hey, I want to thank everyone, Professor Kwok. I want to thank Laura. Laura, why don't you give out your social media? Why don't you give out your contact information while we're here?
Yeah, I'm going to send this out in the chat, but generally speaking, guys, you can reach me over here for any kind of research question related to this data or other data that you might need, okay? I help student teams all the time.
Sounds great. All right, so let's give a round of applause to. Yeah, thank you so much for the engaging 15-minute presentation here. Students really had a lot of smile on their faces when they were hearing you. So I know we just have 5 minutes left here.
Questions?
I'd like to give some opportunity for students to ask any questions. All right. You can just speak up and ask a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Neil, for speaking with us today.
You're
I had a question. I saw that you had data for non-US soccer leagues. I was wondering if you had any plans in the future to start specifying that with like the Premier League and La Liga, etc.
It already does. Our international soccer data covers all of the major international leagues as well as national teams and of course the MLS. Now remember though, we're only surveying US fans of international soccer. So we are able to break down, you know, fans of La Liga, fans of Bundesliga, fans of English Premier League, fans of Champions League. We've got it all right there. And in fact, next year, we're going to expand our international data a little bit so that when the next World Cup rolls around, we're going to be ready. But we had good I have to say, we had good World Cup data now, but it's going to be even better 4 years from now.
Any other questions? Go ahead, it's fine.
Thank you for your talk. And I wanted to ask, how is the process to convert that data to real insight or information?
I'm not sure. Professor, can you help me with that question? I kind of missed part of it.
Yeah. The question was, how do you convert those data points that you just addressed into a more actionable kind of decision making?
You know, that's the biggest challenge that you're all going to have. And you know what? This is my biggest challenge too, is turning data into a story. Because that's really, you know, when people ask me about what I do and all that, I like to explain that what I do is part science and part art. The science is what I showed you today. The art is turning it into a story and making it mean something, you know, and a story. Look, you've all read a story. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has character development, and then it has, you know, a completion or an end. Well, that's the same way when you're going to do your presentations. You need to create a story, build a narrative, build a story.
I think that goes back to your earlier comments about 5 W's and 1 H, right?
Yep.
Why are you doing this? And when do you do this? And who do you need to, you know, get the data from? So which will lead to the storytelling side.
You know, another story that I also like to develop is, and I learned this also as a young marketing pup at Syracuse, was something called a SWOT analysis. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of this. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Usually, if you can answer a lot of those questions, you're in great shape to build a wonderful story.
Great, fantastic. Are there any questions for Neil? Can you give another big round of applause?
Thank you, everybody.
All right, Neil, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Laura.